They don't have to say a word, you can feel it. The air shifts when you walk in. Their laughter dulls, smiles tighten, and conversations stop halfway through. It's not because you're rude, arrogant, or even doing anything wrong. There's simply something about you, an invisible gravity people can sense but can't explain. You ask questions that dig beneath the surface. You truly listen, and when you speak, there's intention behind every word. When your eyes meet theirs, they look away. You've probably been told you're too serious, too intense, that you think too deeply about everything. But what if that's not a flaw? What if, as Carl Jung believed, your presence carries a kind of energy, something rare and powerful? Not the mystical aura people imagine glowing in colors, but a psychological force that challenges others without a single word. People aren't afraid of you. They're afraid of what they see in themselves when they're around you, their insecurities, fears, and masks. So they step back. They avoid, they gossip, they shrink to feel safe. Not because you're threatening, but because your honesty disturbs their illusion. Carl Jung spent his life studying this, the psychic energy radiating from those who have faced their inner shadow and embraced their true selves. This energy speaks before you do. It shows in how you move through space, how people react to your presence, even in your silence. Jung called it the unconscious transmission of the self, a deep psychological resonance that comes from confronting your pain, your truth, your darkness. The more you face those hidden parts, the stronger your presence becomes. It's not shaped by approval or pretense, but by self-awareness and depth. People can feel it even if they don't understand it. It's in the way your eyes hold emotion, the calm steadiness in your silence, and the quiet intensity behind your gaze. Jung believed this kind of aura can unconsciously awaken others, exposing what they've spent a lifetime hiding. And so they distance themselves, not because you're wrong, but because your very being speaks to their unconscious. Understanding this is key to Jung's teaching, that we are not just minds or bodies, but living fields of psychic influence, walking mirrors of truth and shadow. Sign 1. People say you're too intense. Even when you're simply being yourself, people often accuse you of being too serious or too much. What they don't realize is that your honesty runs deep. You don't speak to impress or dominate. You speak to connect. You express truths that others avoid. You address what's hidden. And your words pierce through the comfortable illusions that people live within. They might say, "You overthink everything," or "You're too deep." But what they really mean is, "You make me feel things I'd rather not face." Carl Jung believed that certain individuals naturally carry energy that awakens the unconscious in others. Your presence doesn't just deliver words, it delivers truth, emotion, and clarity. And for those who live on the surface, that feels dangerous. Your intensity is not arrogance. It's emotional honesty. It's the willingness to be real in a world that glorifies pretense. And because so few can handle that level of raw authenticity, they label it as too much. What they're really reacting to is not you, but the mirror you hold up to their own unexamined self. Sign 2. Small talk drains you. You can feel it almost instantly, the lifeless rhythm of shallow conversations. How's the weather? What do you do? Did you watch that show? You smile, you nod, you reply politely, but deep down, you're exhausted. It's not that you're antisocial. It's that small talk feels like sandpaper to your soul. Jung believed that people connected to their unconscious selves are repelled by inauthenticity. Superficial conversation is often a social mask, a shield against vulnerability. So when you're in those moments, your aura sends a silent message. This isn't real. Let's talk about something that matters. But that subtle energy disrupts the script. It breaks the illusion that most people depend on for comfort. Because of this, others might perceive you as distant, cold, or unfriendly. But the truth is, your soul is hungry for something genuine. You crave depth, truth, and meaning, and your aura reflects that hunger. People sense it even when you don't speak. You don't reject them. You reject the emptiness of pretending. Sign 3. You attract confessions and emotional unloading. Strangers open up to you within minutes. Friends pour out their pain when they're at their breaking point. You've likely been called a therapist more times than you can count, even though you never asked for that role. This doesn't happen by accident. Jung believed that some people carry within them the archetype of the healer, even if they aren't consciously aware of it. Your aura radiates calmness, depth, and emotional safety. Without saying a word, you communicate. It's safe to be real here. People sense that they can reveal parts of themselves they usually hide. But there's a paradox in this. While you hold space for others, few hold space for you. You listen, you comfort, you absorb pain, but rarely does anyone ask how you are truly doing. This can create a strange loneliness, surrounded by emotions yet deprived of genuine connection. Your energy draws in those seeking healing, yet it often intimidates those unwilling to face their own darkness. They come to you for understanding but withdraw when the reflection becomes too raw. Sign 4. People avoid eye contact with you. You walk into a room and you feel it immediately, the subtle shift. People glance at you, then look away. Their tone changes. They fidget or act differently without knowing why. Some avoid you altogether, while others stare as if trying to decode what they sense in you. Carl Jung taught that when someone has integrated the parts of themselves that others repress, they become a living mirror of the hidden self. Eye contact, then, is no longer a simple gesture, it becomes a psychic encounter. When you look into someone's eyes, you aren't just seeing them. You're reflecting their truth back at them. And that can be deeply unsettling for those who aren't ready to see it. So they flinch. They retreat. They might even describe you as intimidating, though you've done nothing but exist authentically. Your presence calls forth honesty, not through words, but through energy. It demands transparency, not because you ask for it, but because your aura speaks the language of truth long before your mouth does. Sign 5. You sense people's hidden motives. You can tell when someone's words don't align with their energy. They might smile, say all the right things, and yet something feels off. You may not always have proof, but your intuition speaks in whispers that rarely lie. Jung believed that individuals in touch with the unconscious develop what he called psychic sensitivity. It's not magic, it's perception refined through awareness. You read micro-expressions, tone shifts, the pauses between words. You catch the energy behind intentions. It's not about judgment, but about alignment. You feel when something doesn't match. And because of this, manipulation rarely works on you. People with hidden agendas sense this unconsciously. It's why they might grow uneasy in your presence. Yet, this gift is double-edged. Feeling others' true motives can be overwhelming, especially when you'd rather not know. You see the masks fall away, the envy disguised as friendship, the admiration tainted by competition. Jung once said that people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. You, however, see right through that avoidance. Sign 6. You go through intense emotional cycles. Some days you feel deeply connected to everything. The music of life flows through you. Other days, you feel disconnected, detached, like you're watching reality from outside yourself. These emotional fluctuations aren't a flaw. They're part of what Jung called the process of individuation, the lifelong journey of integrating every aspect of who you are. When you carry deep self-awareness, the highs and lows of emotion are amplified. You don't just feel happiness, you embody it. You don't just feel sorrow, you drown in it. Your inner world is vast, and navigating it can sometimes feel like walking through storms only you can see. But these emotional cycles have purpose. Each descent into darkness brings new wisdom. Each rise into light renews your spirit. The key, Jung would say, is not to suppress these shifts, but to witness them, to observe them without judgment, knowing they are part of your unfolding self. Sign 7. You experience recurring themes or patterns in life. Certain types of people or situations seem to repeat themselves, different faces, same story. Maybe you constantly attract those who need saving. Or you keep encountering betrayal, rejection, or loss, even when you thought you'd already learned the lesson. Jung described this as the repetition of psychological patterns, manifestations of unresolved inner dynamics seeking integration. Life, he said, will bring back the same lesson again and again until the unconscious becomes conscious. These repeating cycles are not punishment. They are invitations to growth. Each time they appear, they ask, will you react as before, or will you respond from a higher level of awareness? Once you identify the pattern and face the hidden emotion beneath it, fear, shame, unworthiness, the repetition weakens. You no longer attract situations that mirror your wounds, but ones that reflect your healing. As Jung put it, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Sign 8. You often feel disconnected from the world. There are moments when reality feels distant, almost like you're observing life rather than living it. You might look around and feel like you don't quite belong anywhere, as though you're tuned to a different frequency. Jung would describe this as the experience of differentiation, the natural result of becoming more conscious than the collective around you. While others chase distractions, you find yourself craving meaning. The conversations that once entertained you now feel hollow. You see through the illusion of busyness, the superficiality of small talk, and the emptiness of endless consumption. This disconnection can feel isolating, but it's not alienation, it's awakening. The world begins to appear like a stage play, and you, aware of the script, can no longer fully participate in the illusion. Jung warned that those who awaken to deeper truth often face the loneliness of consciousness. Yet, he also said that true individuality arises only when you can stand apart without resentment. Sign 9. Technology and noise drain you easily. Crowded spaces, loud music, endless scrolling. You can only take so much before you feel depleted. It's not that you dislike people or modern life. It's that your nervous system is finely tuned. You pick up on subtle energies, emotional frequencies, and unspoken tension. Jung might say you're highly differentiated, which makes you more sensitive to the collective chaos most people ignore. You may notice that digital overstimulation clouds your intuition. After hours of screens and noise, you feel disconnected from your inner voice, the one that speaks softly beneath the static. This isn't weakness. It's sensitivity born from awareness. The more conscious you become, the less you can tolerate superficial input. That's why solitude, nature, and silence feel like medicine. They recalibrate you. They bring your energy back to coherence. Jung often retreated to his tower in Bollingen to reconnect with his unconscious mind, away from the noise of the world. You too sense the need to retreat, not to escape life, but to remember your essence. Sign 10. Animals and children are drawn to you. There's something about your presence that feels safe and grounding. Dogs rest their heads on your lap. Children smile at you for no reason. They sense authenticity, the purity of your energy before words and masks distort it. Jung wrote that the unconscious recognizes truth instinctively, even when the intellect doesn't. Animals and children live closer to that instinctual realm. They respond to vibration, not appearance. And yours speaks of calm, empathy, and integrity. You don't need to try. Your energy simply harmonizes with life itself. This connection reveals how attuned you are to the natural order, the same order Jung explored through dreams, symbols, and archetypes. This bond with innocence is a reminder of who you are beneath the roles and expectations. It shows that your power lies not in dominance, but in resonance. The world may misunderstand depth as distance, but those untouched by social conditioning, the young and the wild, recognize in you what's real. Sign 11. You're drawn to the shadow side of human nature. You find yourself fascinated by what others avoid: pain, death, darkness, contradiction. You read about psychology, trauma, or philosophy, not out of morbidity, but curiosity. You want to understand why people hide what they hide, and what happens when those buried parts come to light. Jung called this the process of integrating the shadow, the collection of repressed qualities we deny in ourselves. While others prefer to look away, you look deeper. You sense that healing doesn't come from pretending the dark doesn't exist, but from acknowledging it. You know that peace isn't found in perfection, it's born from wholeness. This awareness gives you emotional depth, but also isolates you from those who still live on the surface. You've likely been told you overthink or feel too much. Yet, it's precisely this capacity for introspection that makes you grounded. You walk willingly into your own darkness, not because you enjoy pain, but because you understand that gold is found in the shadows of the psyche. Sign 12. You undergo sudden transformations. Just when you think you found stability, life shifts again. You shed identities, beliefs, relationships like a snake shedding old skin. Jung saw this as the death and rebirth cycle of the psyche, the symbolic descent into the underworld, followed by resurrection. Each time you fall apart, a truer version of you emerges. To others, it might look like you're starting over too often. But you know it's not regression, it's evolution. Each ending clears space for authenticity. You no longer cling to what once defined you, because you've tasted the freedom of letting go. These transformations often come through crisis, heartbreak, loss, burnout. Jung believed that the soul uses suffering to push us toward consciousness. So while others fear change, you've learned to embrace it. You don't chase transformation, it finds you, again and again, until you no longer resist becoming who you truly are. Sign 13. You've always felt out of place. Even as a child, you sensed that you didn't fully belong. Among friends, family, or peers, there was a quiet distance you couldn't explain. It wasn't about shyness or social awkwardness. It was a deeper, soul-level awareness. Jung would describe this as a call-in from the self, a pull toward growth, wholeness, and transformation that others rarely recognize. You carry an inner depth that the world cannot fully categorize. You notice patterns, perceive unspoken truths, and ask questions others avoid. From a young age, you felt a sense of being otherworldly, as if you arrived here to awaken rather than merely conform. And while that awareness grants insight and empathy, it also produces isolation. Your aura conveys a quiet, magnetic energy that some find inspiring and others find threatening. People are often unsettled by your presence, not because you mean harm, but because your energy reflects truths they avoid. Jung believed that those who walk the path of individuation often encounter misunderstanding, judgment, and resistance simply for existing authentically. You've seen this play out time and again. You enter a room, and the subtle energy shifts. People become guarded, awkward, or distant. Sometimes they even act aggressively, while you've said nothing provocative. Your authenticity, your depth, self-awareness, and clarity reminds them of the work they haven't done. And in that reflection, many feel exposed, uncomfortable, or defensive. This is the paradox of rare energy. The very qualities that mark your evolution also make the world shrink around you. The more aligned you are with your true self, the more your presence exposes illusions, shadows, and unacknowledged truths in others. Jung would call this the encounter with the shadow, the hidden, denied aspects of the psyche that your integrated aura inevitably illuminates. Why rare energy feels dangerous? The world rewards conformity, being loud, agreeable, trendy. Comfort is prized above depth. But when someone enters with stillness, clarity, and soul-level awareness, the usual social rules no longer apply. You can't be easily categorized, controlled, or ignored. Your presence asks silent questions. What else exists beyond the surface? This creates emotional dissonance, the unease that arises when someone is forced to confront truths they've long avoided. Many respond by pulling away, judging, or labeling you as too much, because it's easier to reject the messenger than to face the message. Jung would call this projection. When people refuse to acknowledge their own flaws, they unconsciously assign them to someone else. Strong auras naturally reflect what others hide. Your presence doesn't make you the villain. It simply refuses to participate in the illusions they cling to. In that, your authenticity becomes a mirror, and mirrors are not always welcome. This rare energy carries both magnetism and isolation. People who are lost, hurting, or seeking truth feel drawn to you, while those unwilling to face their inner darkness may recoil. It's a delicate balance. Your aura invites connection for some, yet intimidates or repels others. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But becoming who you truly are is not a path filled with applause. It's a path that requires courage, self-confrontation, and often deep loneliness. Your solitude is not punishment, it's preparation. The more you embrace your true self, the stronger your energy becomes, and the more the world contracts around your authenticity. Rare energy is never understood by the majority. It unsettles, challenges, and even frightens, but it is the very proof of your depth and growth. You are not broken. You are rare. If you've followed this far, there's something you need to hear. You are not too much. You are not the problem. You are rare. Your sensitivity, insight, and awareness allow you to perceive what most ignore. You notice patterns, feel deeply, and ask questions that others avoid, not to cause discomfort, but because your soul is wired for truth. Carl Jung believed that walking the path toward wholeness, the journey of individuation, is not one the masses willingly undertake. It's lonely, disorienting, and often misunderstood. But here's the paradox. The very traits that isolate you are evidence of your depth. The discomfort in shallow conversations, the urge to detach from toxic dynamics, the experience of being too intense or too quiet. These are signs that you are evolving. As your aura expands, the world around you contracts. Most people are molded into expectations: how to act, what to feel, whom to be. You were never meant to fit in, you were meant to awaken. And awakening inevitably brings resistance, not only from society, but from those closest to you. Your energy mirrors the work they have avoided, and that reflection can provoke discomfort, even fear. But still, you shine. Your isolation is preparation for wisdom, clarity, and spiritual strength. When your aura unsettles others, it is speaking a language their soul recognizes, even if their mind is unready. Do not shrink, dim, or apologize for your depth. You are not here to be palatable, you are here to be powerful. Those who flinch are not your measure. Those who recognize your authenticity will feel seen, safe, and strengthened in your presence. Your aura is more than energy, it is a signal, a call to truth, a reminder of what is possible when someone dares to be fully alive. The next time someone calls you too much, smile and remember, you are not too much. You are rare. If this video has made you see the world differently, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching and see you next time.